Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Trojan fans, welcome back. I know it's been a long time, but welcome back to the Student Body Right USC podcast. It's game week. It's actually a game this week. No more camp talk, no more transfer portal, all those things like that. No NIL deal. Well, might be more NIL deals. As you see, Jordan Addison got that one from United Airlines. But this is real. Everything's coming together now. The season is here, and Lincoln Riley has his squad ready to go. Just not too long ago, he was talking about. I saw an interview on Instagram with him, and he just basically said that I just can't wait for the game to start. And now they can just go to bed tonight. It's Friday. They can go to bed tonight, and then boom, it's game time tomorrow against Rice, 3:00 Pacific time here on the Best Coast. So obviously a tune-up game, a good way to kind of start your season, to kind of test your mettle, to kind of see where you are offensively, defensively, special teams, all those things like that. This is not a team that's going to challenge USC in any way. I think USC is favored by 29 points in the ball game, so we know that it's not going to be like, okay, we're going to be fighting for our lives here. In this ball game, hopefully not. I mean, like, that'd be kind of crazy because I'm going to be at the game, and that's going to be tough to sit there and watch it if USC is struggling against Rice. I'm sure everybody and their grandmother will be all over that one if that does take place. But secure your dominance, go out there and just destroy them, and give this crowd who's been kind of waiting a long time to see really good, crisp, quality offensive football with talented players all over the place. Mario Williams, Jordan Addison, Caleb Williams, all those guys like that. You want to make sure you see that. Make sure you see that this week. Get off to a good start before you have to go to Stanford the following week. But they are talented, especially offensively. This is an outstanding football team. So we'll have to see what happens there. As they open the season against Rice. Rice is just not good enough to hang out with UC, hang out with USC. So the captains have been named to USC as well. Caleb Williams, you got Shane Lee, Tululu Tuipulotu is going to be one of them. It's going to be one of the captains as well, and then offensive lineman Justin Dietrich. So I got to sharpen up my skills on some of those names like that on the roster. But yeah, captains are in place. So USC has that in place as well. Caleb Williams, a little bit about him. Every time you see him, he kind of, in an interview, he kind of talks like a pro quarterback. And that's what you want. I mean, he's a leader. He's a guy who, is taking that trek to come from, Oklahoma to come to USC to kind of basically be that head guy, potential Heisman Trophy candidate on this offense, because that's what Lincoln Riley's offenses do, right? They produce guys who, either win the Heisman or get drafted in the top 5. But I really think his leadership, the way he handles himself, he just acts like a pro quarterback. And I think, this year you're going to see him kind of take control, take the bull by the horns, if you will. Knows the offense inside and out, so should be no issues there. And USC should be good at quarterback and play very well there. I'm expecting Caleb Williams to have a huge year. One of the stories this week was the national media, and like the national media with this whole Jordan Addison thing is just like let's just call it like it is. Jordan Addison entered the transfer portal and did what everybody else should be able to do, whether you're a football player or not a football player, is go from one college to another. And if you feel like that's a better thing for your life, for everything that you're about, then you go ahead and do that. So now I'm hearing all these stories about him, quote unquote, not being happy at SC. I'm not sure how anybody would know that, but everybody say, okay, listen, going from the East Coast to the West Coast is a transition. I know there's some reporters on 24/7 Sports talking about when everybody's I went to USC and when everybody says everything's okay, that usually means everything's not okay. Jordan Addison is here to help USC contend for a national championship, play at a high level, hopefully play in some big games, and then he's off to the NFL. Like, let's just like this isn't like some 3-year contract. He didn't sign the Devontae Adams to the Raiders, 3-year deal. He didn't sign the deal that Tyreek Hill did to the Dolphins. He's here for one season with one of his good friends, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. That should be and that should be enough. Now, I do think there is a transition period, definitely, and USC is doing everything they can to make sure that transition period is smooth. That's going to work for him. But yeah, I mean, let's. What are we talking about here? He has the NIL deal that he's looking for. You know, maybe it was some car dealership out there in Pittsburgh that would have gave it to him, but nah, he just came to Los Angeles and ended up getting United Airlines. Sorry, Pittsburgh. I mean, like, people are really. That's how you know SC is in the right direction. That's how you know people who hate SC, who don't want to see SC get to that next level, are starting to stoke the fires that something's wrong with Jordan Addison, something's wrong with, like, there's really there's nothing there. He's ready to play. He's talked about being ready to play. He's talked about USC getting every anything he needs, and to be more comfortable out west. And again, this is gonna be a situation, because when he enters the NFL draft, it could be a team, a West Coast team who drafts him. What if the Rams actually don't say F those picks and pick a player, or trade a trade into the first round to try to get him. What about the Raiders? What about all these other squads who have first round picks next year? Like, the Seahawks, you got, the Chargers, all those things. Their life changes dramatically because when you enter the NFL draft, because you don't control where you go. Unlike jobs, like everyday people, like we don't control, we can control where we go. If I want a job in Hawaii, then I'll go get a job in Hawaii. Like, if I want a job in Nebraska, I'll go to Nebraska. Maybe I'll go work for Scott Frost to help him improve that program, because he has been horrible in in Lincoln. But this whole thing with him is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna. I, I don't want to go. I don't want to go nuts about it. Here we've talked a lot about Jordan Addison and that transfer from Pittsburgh. People don't like it because they like the head coach. They don't like USC. They don't understand how this was done. I mean, the young man made a decision. We really get on football players for making these decisions, and NIL is probably. I'm not sure how the structure is great. I'm not sure. I'm sure they could do something to improve NIL, but when you sit there and look at it, I mean, I'm watching Serena Williams play the U.S. Open, play at a high level, even at her age. She's probably the GOAT of tennis. When her and her sister started their debuts as teenagers, did we what happened? Did we go up in arms about school and education, all things like that? No, they'll get their school education on along the way. those institutions aren't going anywhere. The fakeness of the fakeness of Jordan Addison, the caring people have for him by the national media is just is it's a little sickening. It's fake. They don't care. They're mad that he went to Lincoln Riley. They're mad that he went to USC. That's why Jordan Addison is met with vitriol or met with anger, met with all these different things. That's the reason why. Don't let anybody fool you to think that, oh, they lie awake at night. Those social media, gets sweaty at nighttime thinking about Jordan Addison saying, "Oh, I really wonder about his well being." No, they don't care. They really, they really don't care as far as as far as that goes. So the official depth chart was dropped. I'm gonna pull that up a little bit. Depth chart for USC. Lincoln Riley did it on Lincoln Riley did it on Wednesday. So I'm trying to get the depth chart up there for you so you can kind of see it. Um, as far as that goes, no real big surprises. I don't think. I mean, I think one of the things that people really are going to be surprised with, I think they're gonna if you're not familiar with if you're not familiar with Lincoln Riley, is how powerful that run game is. How much he loves to run the football, and it's not like a finesse run game. He's pulling centers, he's pulling guards, and it's really a powerful in your face kind of offensive run game attack, which is going to be fun to see because you want this team to play, you want this football team to play really hard nosed tough football. And I think the one thing that keeps you from being like a soft vanilla team is being able to run the football at people, running the football in people's faces. So that's something that's going to be cool to see. I had it. I'm not sure why I can't find it. I'll just go to Orlando and Arlad and see if I can find it there. But those when you're able to do that, I think that's going to be the fun part of it. Is that's going to set up everything in this past game. They do have they just have a unique set of offensive weapons where no matter who they put on the field, they're going to be able to move the football against anybody. Probably that biggest challenge is I think if you're looking for a USC game to watch and maybe a rival game to watch, I mean Florida, Utah should be really fun, and Florida Utah is going to be that's going to be good. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good football there. As far as that goes, so I'm excited to see how good the Utes look. Because that's the biggest challenge that USC is going to have in the Pac-12 is Utah. They're putting players in the pros. They're really a dynamic team. So here is we share that screen so you can see it. So we got Jordan Addison, obviously, Mario Williams, Kyle Ford, Terrell Bynum, all the pieces there. So we know about what they want to do offensively. I think Brendan Rice has a nice spot on this team, and they also have Gary Bryant Jr. The offensive line seems to be something where they do have a little bit of trepidation there as far as that goes, because the depth. So kind of like the defensive side of the football, if they do get caught in a situation where they don't have a lot of depth, that's where they could get in trouble. So we'll see if that hinders them as they go through. And you guys can see the rest of it. Travis Dye, I think it's going to be set to have a bit. Austin Jones, those guys are going to have huge years. I do like change of pace, the change of pace that Ridley Brown is going to be able to give once he gets to the open field. I think this would be a game against Rice where they're going to be able to maybe get a lot of different be up hopefully early, and then get a lot of people a chance, the opportunity to get their feet wet. And Raleek Brown is going to be a guy who definitely you want to his feet are pretty good. He's a special back. SV fans, you're gonna love Raleek Brown. If not this year, in the future. So check that out. But I do love the Travis Dye is going to be a banger here. I really like Travis Dye in this offense. I think if you're looking at, Shane Lee is obviously going to be the transfer from Alabama, going to be a huge part of what they do. I do think Eric Gentry, the transfer from Arizona State, is going to be a guy who really kind of helps this team a great deal. He's very long. He's very um, can can cover, can help in the run game, stop the run game for and run support. So that's going to be fun to see how well they do that. But it's all about the edge. I mean, it really is about their edge. Can Corey Foreman, can Height, can all these guys go out here and get pressure on the quarterback? Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It really does not matter um, about this defense if they can't get pressure on the quarterback. So this would be a good game to see gauge that, because can they go out there and get a multitude of sacks, get some turnovers, give this offense a short field. You want to start though. You want to start that now. You want to start that right now. You don't want to be 4 or 5 weeks into it and you're searching for your first interception, your first turnover, your first all those things like that. So that's going to be a big part of what SC's trying to do, and we'll see if they can continue that, continue those things going forward here. But I think Shane Lee is coming. I mean, he kind of won the team defensively, won over the team defensively in the weight room. I mean, he's telling these upcoming linebackers and freshman linebackers that, hey, like, if you can't lift like me, I came from Alabama to come here, then obviously then you may not be ready to play. And he's kind of taking the bulls by the horns. He's been a leader on this SC football team. That would be a guy who injuries or anything like that. That would be a tough blow if they ever lost Shane Lee. But Shane Lee's come in and kind of just take the bull by the horns. Excited to see what he does. Just a fantastic leader in every way. I mean, he is the embodiment of the quote unquote green dot helmet, the middle linebacker of a football team, a guy who can really lead and put this team in the right direction. So on defense, and that's where the tone's going to be. The USC is going to go only as far. The Trojans are only going to go as far as this defense can take them. It's just that simple. Because I think points wise, they're gonna score points, but you don't want a Big 12 situation where they're scoring 40 and they're going overtime with some of these teams, scoring 45 points, scoring 50 points, but then giving up 60, giving up 55, giving up 40. I'm not sure besides Utah who could get to that mark in the Pac-12, but you still want to just kind of, especially when you got like Fresno State coming in, some of those sneaky tough games. You want to be careful defensively and kind of take care of your business as far as that goes. So we got a couple questions here. We got Justin from the 718 out there. I believe that's New York. Wants to know about what do I see as far as the run game goes? And listen, I think the run game is going to be dynamic. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be. I know that I had Phil Jones on here. I'm sorry, Phil Robinson on here. He writes for the LA Football Network. Just a really good columnist. He has some trepidations about the running game, but he has a high mark. Like, to impress Phil Robinson, you have to be at the top of your game, and he has a high standard. I had that same kind of high standard, but I just watched what Travis Dye did at Oregon, and I just feel like in a better situation with a better head coach, with a guy who knows how to call plays and mix it up. I do like him in this offense as well. We got Jamie from out here he's up there, actually up there in Sacramento. Wants to know, am I worried about the game 2 of the season, since the Rice game is such a foregone conclusion? I think, and this is something that's going to be I think people who are scared of the Stanford game are scared. They have respect for the head coach. They have respect for Stanford's ability. But at the end of the day, like Stanford's not good, dude. Like Stanford, Stanford is not. Stanford is not. So I'm just put a note real quick here. Stanford is not good. Um, I can write it down, but I can say it too. But like, they're not good. So if this was a vintage Stanford team, I mean, they should go up there and spread them out and be able to throw the football all over Stanford. And I think if this was a rookie head coach with a lot of fanfare, a rookie quarterback with a lot of fanfare, maybe a rookie wide receiver core with a lot of fanfare, I'd be a little bit more worried. But the fact that it's a veteran coach, a veteran quarterback who has a great rapport with one of your best weapons in Mario Williams, really good friends with Jordan Addison. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. Everything in camp just shows me that I'm not going to be concerned about Stanford at all. They are just, I mean, they're not a great institution. I mean, if you can send your kid to Stanford, you're not doing a bad job. I mean, and if your kid gets into Stanford, they're definitely not doing a bad job. But as far as football goes this year, that's not it. That's not it. That's not at all. That's not it at all. James from Fresno, thank you for watching this the Student Body Right USC podcast. Um, let's see here. He has a question about the defense. What's a realistic goal for them? They just have to be. I think football starts off. A realistic goal for USC football is number one. I look at two things: tackling and setting the edge. So if you're able to tackle, like people are gonna complete balls, they're gonna make some, have some runs against your team. But are you able to make sure that you're able to tackle, get them down, and not give up the huge play? I mean, when you tackle and you don't get in that, it's a 7 yard gain. You're keeping your defense alive. When you give up that 30, 40, 50 yard gain, that's when people are like, what's going on? Setting the edge is, you just don't want people running the football wide on you, because that's where a lot of big plays come from. So set the edge, force everything back inside where all your teammates are. That's the kind of thing I want to see. That's the kind of thing I want to see, and I'm expecting to see from USC here. I mean, I'm expecting to see that from the first, especially from the first couple of opponents. They're not facing great offensive teams the first couple of weeks. So if they're giving up 30 points to Rice, 27 points, 30 points to Stanford, even if they're blowing those teams out, I'm going to be a little concerned about defense. But again, you have to let the defense grow, give them an opportunity to grow with this all this changeover. And I think when Lincoln Riley said too, what I like about what Lincoln Riley said about, he's not making any excuses about the turnover. He's not. He doesn't care about all that. He does not care about any of that stuff. He's not going to use that as a crutch or an excuse for the 2022 season. He's not doing it. So if he doesn't have excuses about the transfer portal and all these other stuff, everything like that, if he doesn't have that kind of excuse for it, then why should we? Like, I'm not gonna have that kind of excuse because he doesn't have that excuse. So that should be fun. That part should be fun. As far as offense goes, Sherry wants to know about, what do you feel about Brendan Rice's role? I mean, more of a possession kind of receiver. You have the big play with Jordan Addison. You have the Mario Williams, if you will, who is a guy who's that super slot who can just he can play that inside receiver and just be boom, 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 and just be done. Um, just a hard guy to match up with, and just has great footwork and has a nose for the football in the end zone, which is really something that he's great at. He's athletic, like he can do. I'm not gonna say Antonio Brown just to say a shorter receiver who can. I just like he's Antonio Brown, like kind of light, if you will, just like hard guy to deal with the short area quickness with his hands. Does a great job, does a great job in the red zone for that kind of receiver. So yeah, I do like him a lot as well. I got one more question here, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll do a recap of the Rice game and things we like, things we don't like, all those pros and cons for USC. Danny wants to know. Danny is from where's Danny from? Danny's out there in Escondido. It's hot in Escondido. Um, Danny wants to know who's the biggest key to the defense. I think I talked about that already. I think it's going to be Shane Lee. I think Shane Lee is going to set. He's the guy who just can't. He has to play all every game. He has to be on the field. He has to get everything set up for this defense. Get or make all the calls. That's going to be he's the quarterback of the defense. I mean, that's why he's a captain. That's why he came all the way from Alabama to come over to the West Coast to kind of hold things down. So, and he has done everything you could want a leader to do. He's done it for USC. He's absolutely done it for USC. So that should be cool. As far as that goes, just some news and notes. I believe the Trojan Walk will be at 12:15 Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to high five some players, want to get there early, stuff like that, you want to get to see the Trojan Walk, you go ahead and do that. I'm not sure what time I'm getting there, so I know some folks asked me where I'm going to be at during the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there closer to game time or when we do some of the festivities out there. I'm kind of just going to kind of want to soak it in because as a East Coast now a resident, now a West Coast resident, this is my first time at the Los Angeles Coliseum. I've only seen it on TV. I only saw it when the Raiders were in Los Angeles, and I saw it when every time USC was on TV playing Notre Dame or whatever. So I've seen it from afar. Now I'm excited to see it in person for the first time. And definitely, folks, if you're going to the game, stay hydrated, stay hydrated, stay hydrated. I mean, I know water might be expensive when you get into the stadium or outside, but like it's supposed to be really hot. I mean, right after this week is over, it gets like little normal LA weather, but it's gonna be blazing hip hop and R&B, as they say on the East Coast. It's gonna be blazing out there. So make sure you stay hydrated. If you can do whatever you can to stay, kind of protect yourself from the sun. Don't forget that sunscreen, all that stuff like that. You should be good to go. Hydration, sunscreen, you should be good to go. And USC, get your little adult beverages out there and mix it with water because you want to pass out. But yeah, it should be fun times out there in the Collie. First time Lincoln Riley plays, coaches USC, and this should be a memorable moment because this is the end of the Clay Helton catastrophe to what we think is going to be some really great things for Southern California and USC. All right. Student Body Right. Gonna take a left to get out of here. Peace.